Welcome, everyone, to another live show. Jeff, who is in his truck pulling over to find a place someplace in Alabama. Susan Winter here, best-selling author and relationship expert. I'm so happy you're all joining me today. Hi, Mel, Jessa, nice to talk to you. Did any of you happen to see Nikka's post on her love affair with Donovan? Well, I have to admit, it is unrequited love, poor thing. My little Pomsky, she fell in love with my cousin's son, Donovan. He's a very handsome young man. And when we were visiting, and unfortunately, she doesn't seem to quite understand that there are a few things in her way. First of all, he's much taller. He's almost 6 feet tall, and she's only 11 inches. I've tried to explain to her this makes things very difficult. And he also has a girlfriend. Okay, so Nikka wanted to go nip at her heels, and I said, we don't do that. That's not right. And then she also, was worried that the long distance, of course, he's in Minnesota and she's either in New York or in Arizona. So for a number of reasons, we had concluded that, maybe this is not right for her. But still, the fantasy goes on. Hello, Riley. Hi. And Patrick, how are you doing? Uh, a lot of people want the ones that won't commit to them. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to call it, in the old days, we called it commitment phobes. And there are people who simply don't want to commit. And then you see cases, like I'm thinking of George Clooney, who made such a public statement years ago on the Barbara Walters show that he was never getting married again, never having children. He was a perennial bachelor. And then he met somebody that just knocked it out of the ballpark. So the funny thing about love is that you can make all the rules, like I'm not marrying anybody with kids. You find the love of your life and they have 3 kids. I'm not marrying anybody that, I don't know, lives in this or that country, which I don't want to be in. And then you, boom, end up moving to that country. So, we can write the list all that we want as far as the factors of what we want. Like he's got to be 6'2". The perfect guy for you is 5'9", and that's it. So that's how it goes. Hi, Stacy. Happy Thursday, everyone. Gladys, we went through a time change. I bet you money B and Gwyneth don't know this. I forgot to tell them. So we probably don't have them with us today. Is anybody here currently in love with somebody that doesn't love them back? Anybody in this situation? Let me go over this, and I'm going to include a category that I don't think you'll be expecting from me. I get a lot of your questions and answers, and believe it or not, many of them have been pre-recorded and they're put right on my podcast, which is not on this platform. Others have been recorded, and I've got about 36 of them that are sitting in the can that have not yet been disseminated because I'm going to be out for a couple of weeks and then I'll be in Europe for later in August. So I want to make sure that you had a lot of material at least twice a week, if not more. Lucy Lou. I love seeing your name here because I love reading your comments and all of your support. Thank you so much. So do you know that I have been receiving a lot of people writing? I mean, I think a lot is more than like 2 people a week writing me that they're in love with a celebrity. Like, it's never going to happen. It isn't. I mean, unless you work for this person, are in that proximity, you're their dental hygienist, maybe like Amal, you're a lawyer and you happen to meet them through mutual. Most people, they're never going to meet. Okay. So I understand that oftentimes the human impulse is to love. Just we have an urge to love something. Love our country, love our pets, love our family, love our children, love something. And when people are not in the process of being allowed to feel the flow of love, they feel constricted and we shrink inside. And that's why many world religions teach us to simply love as a principle, as a way of being. What if you love nature? What if you love waking up in the morning and you love life? That would be a good one, right? So it I understand that our natural impulse is to love because it feels good for us to love. We are actually the recipients of the love that we're sending out, believe it or not. And if you've listened to Breakup Triage, you know that that is step number 7. That kind of takes all your power back if you're in a relationship that went south. So I think that the activity of loving somebody unattainable, I think the benefit for us is that we're experiencing ourselves loving. I think that's what it is. And I can understand why that would be so exciting. Nikka has some commentary, I think. John Gallagher, can it be love though? Isn't it more infatuation? Yes. I mean, in Nikka's case, it's infatuation. Um, but still, um, so when I was in college, oh, and I do have commentary for today. So there are going to be steps and tools and tips in case you're in the midst of this. But when I was in college, I was too busy to date. Oh, I was crazy. I was in class from 7 in the morning till 7 at night when I did a show. I mean, honestly, I would come back only to change my book bag, and there'd be girls in my dorm watching TV, and I'm like, "What classes are you in?" But I didn't have time for a relationship, and I knew it. But I had a crush on a guy, a timpanist, who was brilliant. His name was Bill Hill. Now, he had a girlfriend at Curtis, which was a musical school, the East Coast. I want to say Philadelphia, something like that. Um, and so this was a no go. But I remember going into the dorm cafeteria and just seeing him there and kind of talking to him, put a little spring in my step. Oh, he had no idea, but it was in my head. It was a fantasy. It was an infatuation in my head because he was so skilled and so gifted, symphonically and good looking. So, you know, sometimes infatuation can brighten up our lives. Sometimes dreaming about a celebrity can add an excitement to a life that's not that exciting. The problem, the problem, and why I called it, when should you walk away? The actual title is Unrequited Love, When Should You Walk Away? And the problem comes when we discover that this love that we have is actually impeding us from going out in the real world and finding a real partner who really wants to be with us, who loves us the way we love them. All right. Let's see. I was in college. I was concerned about my future back then, not just the here and now. I know, me too. I didn't go out dancing. I didn't do anything. Uh, Fantastic versus realistic, fantasy versus realistic. Yes, exactly. So, how do you know if you should stay or go in a one-sided love affair? There are people. What about, okay, so I've seen this numerous times, and I bet you have. I hope none of you are currently in it. Have you ever seen the friend who's always there? You've got a partner, uh, or maybe you're the friend and they've got a partner, but you're always there. Something happens, you're on the phone, you're their emotional husband or wife, and you're waiting your turn. I call it a friend. A friend is actually a lover in waiting. And there are many cases like this where I have seen guys go through multiple dating women, dating my friends, and there's always this girl, and she's the Klingon, and she's just waiting her turn. And don't you know, when something goes wrong in the relationship with my friend, he goes back and he talks to this girl. So she's, oh, yes, oh, you're so wonderful. Every once in a while, she gets her turn, but he doesn't marry her because she's been there forever. Jessa, $2. Thank you. How to love him and not step in mothering territory. Okay. I've been here because with younger men, it's really simple. The hardest thing for us to do, male, female, straight, or gay, is to watch our partner make life mistakes. We can mothering means we are going in to fix, help, heal, correct, over nurture something that's not ours to take care of. The best thing you can do to make your partner grow up or be responsible is to keep putting the responsibility back on them. That's really important because if they think you're always going to fix things, they will be perpetually messing things up and expecting you to do so. It's an ongoing burden. Believe me, you don't want to do it. So, mothering territory would be over coddling, over, the discernment between support, nurturing, and coddling and overprotecting. That's where you go from love and mothering. Okay. But most cases, I see women who actually try to fix their partner's problems. And that's kind of a remedy for disaster because your partner then is disempowered and will end up hating you for the mistakes they make. And then they'll feel like you're telling them what to do. You're being dictatorial. And nobody wants that. Change the unchangeable. Yes. Oxytocin. Well, okay. Cece, I feel like I'm falling out of love. My boyfriend pays more attention to his adult daughter and a female coworker. You know what, Cece? You should. You should fall out of love. He's not loving you the way you want to be loved. He's not prioritizing you. And I did a video on this years ago. Now, remember, I just started using Chrome. So when I've been putting in my YouTube videos all these years on Safari, I never see ad chapters. I never see SEO titles. I didn't know anything about that, right? And I would just title things what I would title it what you're actually going to see in the video. All right. Uh, and I remember doing one, what to do when you're not a priority. Because if you're not a priority in their life, then Cece and all the rest of you, it might be time to rethink whether they should be one in yours. It's a two-way street. I believe in articulating your concern, well, first of all, let me back up. Get very clear about the concern at hand. Get very precise and condensed on the articulation of what this issue is. Present it to your partner, tell them why it hurts you, and then give them an example of what you would have liked instead. And if you can do that, you may have better results. Now, if after doing all of that, nothing changes, then as CC just wrote here, yeah, if you're a healthy person that likes yourself, you will naturally feel less and less and less attraction toward them. We cannot withstand being a non-priority. And please, all of you, don't amend yourself to the current situation of if you're feeling like a non-priority, like, oh, I'm being weak and needy. I shouldn't want this. No, this is a relationship. This is love. This is a two-way street. This is where you're supposed to feel good and supported. And if you're not feeling good and supported, you're not feeling like a priority, you can't make them one for you. You shouldn't do it. Okay? Hello, BL Huns. How are you doing? Nowadays, it's a two-way game. Yep. It's always kind of been a two-way game. 100%. Okay. Here are some things to consider. Now I'm going to give you some info. All right, everybody? Signs that it's time to walk away. Consistent lack of reciprocity. This is exactly what I've been talking about. You're giving way too much and they're not. That means you love them a whole lot more. They either choosing not to love you or they just don't love you. I don't know which, but it's not going to work. Okay. If they're not doing the efforts to keep you interested, you need to retract your efforts to edify their life. Okay. You are not a power source on 24 hours a day to take care of them as a demonstration for the love that you have at your capacity. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But they don't deserve it. And that's leaking your energy, by the way, that could be redirected back to you. All right. Emotional distance. If they tend to withdraw emotionally, they don't share their feelings, or they avoid intimacy. Are they pulling back emotionally? Okay? Were they ever there? Because this is unrequited love. Now, unrequited love could be in love with somebody that is completely unattainable that you don't know or that you barely know, or a coworker, a one-sided crush. It could also be in a relationship. Chances are you're in a situationship of sorts. Maybe they call it a relationship. I don't know, but it's not equal. All right. And that's very, very important. All right. Number three, they don't make future plans. Okay. This is when you really start to realize that that relationship that you were investing in and you're giving so much because you're proving yourself as a great partner and you're trying to show them how wonderful their life is going to be with you. So you're overgiving, huh? Jessa, all the everybody else here, you're overgiving. And then you realize, oh my God, I'm the one doing all the work here. Yeah. So a lack of future plans means you've included them in every aspect of your life. You've probably introduced them to your friends, maybe to your family. They haven't done the same. It's this imbalance. It's the time that you realize, oh my gosh, I've made them a partner in my mind. I've made them important, and they haven't made me important. It's not reciprocal. Okay. And then the fourth aspect of this I spoke about briefly in the beginning is that it's a total fantasy. It's an impossible love. It's a celebrity, somebody from afar. Or now, listen, sometimes, and this goes not just for my women, but for my men. Sometimes you have a crush and fall in love with an unrequited love with somebody that's not into your gender. Okay? You can't flip them. I know it's a modern world and we think that sexuality is fluid, but if you just may be barking up the completely wrong tree, and I've seen this one too. I've seen the girl who is desperately in love with her gay best friend. Yeah, if you want a gray marriage, go ahead and do it, or whatever, or lavender marriage, right? A lilac marriage, lavender marriage. So go ahead and try that. But it's not, just understand what it is. All right. Now, how to move forward. If you're in a situationship like this and you've realized that these things are not working for you, you have no other choice. You know, sometimes we have to come to the end of our own emotional battering to realize that, I'm just hurting myself at this point. There's nothing productive that's happening here. And so at that point, you have to acknowledge the fact that it is not going to be, and you have to lick your wounds and move on. But the reason that it's not that bad is you didn't really have it. So it's a question of how long does it take you to deplete yourself before you understand this? You can get off the train at the first couple stops when you realize it's going in a no-go direction or it's going way someplace you don't want to go. Or you can wait till the end of the line until you're completely depleted, and that won't work. In order to move forward, you've got to shift the love that you were throwing upon them and start to give it back to yourself. You, the recipient of the love that you wanted from them, you got to give to yourself. You got to focus on what is possible. That's another aspect. Instead of focusing on the dream that you had that's impossible, you got to focus on what is possible. And lastly, you have to use logic and to be honest with yourself. Okay? Because sometimes, no matter what you want to say, they had a tough childhood. Oh, they could love you. They're, I don't know, dismissive, avoidant. They're like got issues. They've got family problems. Their work is driving them crazy, blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's none of the above. I don't think some of these things that we want to tease ourselves with, we prefer to make it something else for our ego. If they just weren't so busy, I know they could focus on me. I feel it. I know the love is there. Maybe, but without action, it's not worth much. Okay. Sometimes you dodge a bullet. Okay. Let's see. Leonard is asking a couple questions. So I've pretty much covered that. So now I'm just going to get into this reading of this. Don't forget to send me a super chat if you want to, everyone. Okay. Hang on. John Gallagher jumped the shark a little. Okay. It's wasting your energy on people who couldn't care less. That is correct, Patrick. Okay, Leonard. Leonard, I haven't seen you here before. Already having a major proposal. I think that, oh, marriage proposal. She took it, and now I'm getting a job. It's around 2 months delay. She doesn't consider my age, even if I said her, she actually like she can't do anything of it. Okay. As she's getting aged. Now she's always leaving, but I miss her. What can I do? I miss her. Can you please help me? I know it's strenuous when you have to. Many of us are able to speak in foreign languages, but writing, like, honestly, when I try and speak Spanish to people, I have the right words, I just have the wrong order. So I commend you in trying to put this out here. Good that you found somebody that you think is worth your marriage proposal. I'm having a hard time understanding this because of the verbiage here and the way it's laid out, but I'm thinking that what you're saying is that she's a little bit older, and that because there's a delay in your job, she is pulling away. Okay? She's leaving you. So now let's look at this. If somebody truly loved you, really loved you, and the only thing standing in way of the love was the fact that the job that you wanted was not coming now, but in 2 months, they would have stayed with you. I don't think from what you've said here, and again, I am sorry, if you want a session, I can maybe give you another answer. But from what you're writing here, Leonard, there's not enough here for her to step into it. And it's either that she doesn't feel a sufficient attraction to you, she doesn't feel sufficient love, she's worried about her financial security, she wants things easy breezy. Maybe she has an idea of what her marriage should look like, and she worries that you can't give her the lifestyle that she wants. Okay. It could be all those things. Doesn't mean you're undesirable, but I think what I don't know is if she actually accepted it. I feel like she's on the fence, and you made your best offer, but I don't think it's going to happen. I know you miss her. I think you miss the fact of the dream, which is something that I've discussed in the past. You got very close and found somebody that you thought was going to be there. But a couple external things happen and then they're not. And so if you are actually looking to marry a life partner, you want the ride or die person. You just don't want somebody pretty. You don't want somebody hot. You don't want a guy that's making money now. Anything can happen. Anything. I have a neighbor who actually not where I live now, but where I used to live. His wife was absolutely gorgeous. She was a model. And he used to love walking behind her as she walked into a room because he'd just see the heads turn. Now, he loved her for her. He's been with her all of these years, taking care of her. She had a horrible car accident 5 years into their marriage, can't really exercise, and she has a lot of nerve damage, can't walk very well. She's probably gained 75 pounds, which is a lot on a lady. Never left her side, loves her still. Loved the fact that he got a few years to kind of bask in the fact, but he loves her. That's an external factor that happened. Didn't deter him. So a 2 month delay, I'm not buying that as the reason. That's just the reason they gave you. Okay, what do we have here? Munchie. Hello, Munchie, 199. Several year affair with a man I couldn't obtain. Yeah. So you were in unrequited love. And so then we ask ourselves, and especially for any of you in this right now, it's really good practice to go back and say, what was the exact hook that kept me moving forward when all the evidence was to the contrary? It's a good example because everybody's slightly different. But for some of you, it will be hope. For some of you, it's based upon the philosophical principle that you like yourself and you're thinking, well, the longer, maybe I just need more time. You know, they've hardened their heart, they were hurt in the past, they've never met anybody like me before. I'm going to earn their love. I'm going to prove by sticking with them that I'm the one they're going to love. And it's just a matter of time until it all turns around, right? Maybe that's the thing that hooked you. If that's the thing that hooked you, the hope that they would finally see your worth, you have to be very cautious of it because now you know, that's a vulnerability for me. I project what I would imagine I would love somebody for, repeatedly helping me, that I would grow to have an admiration for them that would boot them way past occasional lover or a situationship or, several year affair into a really respectable category of partner. So this is, yeah. So Munchie, I just say, do some research with yourself after the show. If you can, sit down and write down what was the hook? What was the hook? Because that's what kept you there. Okay. That's your third super chat. We're supposed to celebrate this. Yay. Okay. Uh, yeah, I think John Gallagher is talking to the other person. It sounds like she's older, I think, because he said aged. Temporary. Okay, 125. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My avoidant ex is using, oh God, this is so, I'm already reading this. This is so toxic right away. I can't even believe it. My avoidant ex is using intermittent reinforcement while he's in a new relationship. Chats here or there, then disappears. Why do they do this? Thanks. Wow. God, the psychological implications could be immense. Everything from cruel, psychopathic behavior, narcissistic behavior, all the way to covering their bases in case this new relationship doesn't work out. I mean, it seems like keeping contact with you is keeping you on simmer, right? So nobody is allowed to keep us on simmer. As I've said before, nobody is allowed to reserve your heart. You can't do it. Not under the Susan Winter dating rules. We do not allow that. Okay? Nobody's allowed to reserve your heart. If these constant chats are triggering you, which obviously they are, uh, you gotta tell him. I would tell him, listen, you know what? I suggest that you pay attention to the relationship you're in and give them all the attention. I think this is siphoning it off, and I don't think it's fair to your new partner. Okay? So it makes you sound very magnanimous. But in the meantime, what you have to do is don't this is a little bit of an exciting moment for you. If your partner is avoidant, do you think they're going to suddenly change and be anxious with this new person? I don't think so. So this new person is going to walk the same path you did to a greater or lesser degree. And the only question is how much can they tolerate before you evacuated? Maybe you got kicked to the curb, maybe you kicked them to the curb, I don't know. Okay? But that is the why they do this. It's a huge dynamic everywhere from they love the power they have over you to covering their bases in case something doesn't work out. Okay? Thank you for that. She's older and she gave a deadline for marriage. Yep, yep, yep. And I wanted a job switch before. No, she's not working with you, Leonard. That's it. She's not working with you. Okay? You know, in marriage, you are tied to that person and you have to honor what their goals are as well. And this was dictatorial. This is a one-sided situation. Yeah. John Gallagher. Yeah, yeah. Go. You tell him. You tell him. There you go. All right. I'm not always available and he's just messaging me once a month. Really don't want to be a third party. Just, yeah. So temporary, just say, hey, listen, let's do everybody a favor. Cut this off now. Pay attention to the guy that you've got. Best wishes. It's unfair to everybody. It's unfair to you. It's unfair to the new guy. All right. All right. I know you still have feelings because you know what? The more he contacts you, the more that little thing in your mind goes, oh, maybe I know he's an avoidant. Maybe this is just a short run and he'll come back and he'll still be an avoidant. They don't change. Why do you they don't change? This is not going to change. It can. Okay. I do understand. I had a long conversation with Ken Reed. And I do understand that there are times that you can switch back and forth, but some of this is fixed. It's not mutable. Do you understand? So if you're an avoidant, you're an avoidant. Okay. Whatever they're doing with the new person, don't think the new person gets a better deal. They get the same deal you got. Just have a different timeline for when they're going to break. Okay, here we go. I was in the hope I was keeping me. It was in the oh, okay, Augustine. Now I haven't read your first one, but you must be okay, so you've done your own question and answer. It was in the hope that keeping me tethered, but yesterday I went down my YouTube liked video history and it dawned on me that I spent over a year just hoping for something that will never happen. Wow. Wow. Good work. Listen, everybody, take heart. More times than you know, we only learn these lessons once and it's enough. Okay? We catch our own patterns and we move forward. So please take heart. Very good work. And temporary, you are welcome. John Gallagher, yep, you've been there. Augustine, I still struggle with obsessive checking sometimes. I stalk her page every morning and she does leave signs sometimes, but it's never enough. How do I stop checking? I even check in from time to time on women I don't like, women that were friendly and really did me rotten. And I kind of check in to see, like, what's up with you. And I kind of get excited when I realize not much is happening because I think they deserve it. It's human nature. It's just that I think most people older people look up people on Facebook and see what's going on. And I think sometimes it's just human curiosity to see what's happening with people that we knew in the past. So, what we're trying to do here is actually isolate the behaviors and the actions that hurt us. And I love that you're all so conscious. I love that you're aware of saying, look, I do this. I caught myself doing it. I don't want to do it anymore. Because checking their feed is a way to keep connected. And maybe you're looking for them to turn a corner and come back to you. Maybe you're hoping they get the karma they deserve. I don't know. But it will fade. Okay? It fades with so many of us. Okay? It's human nature to be curious, but don't worry about it. Okay? Dump the hope, Jeff Phillips says. Because it's a bad anchor around our love. They don't deserve us, and probably it's best we're not with them. That is true. Hurt people hurt people. Isn't that rotten? Don't you think if you've been hurt, you might spend the rest of your life trying not to hurt others because you know what it's like? Just saying. So, do I have any more questions today? I am here for you. And B and Gwyneth are going to feel so rotten. I know they're going to come on at the last minute. They're going to realize that there was a time change here. Okay. This kind of love made me not to be able to open my heart to new people. Okay. Reza, I think in Spanish, that means prayer. Reza. Maybe you're Persian. Okay. So, one of the kindest services we could do to ourselves is to not allow our heart to harden to the possibility of somebody new who can love us. If we build too many calluses around our heart in an effort to self protect, we are also locking out any future love. Now, I do realize we have to get smarter. We have to see the game. We have to know it. And that's why I ask all of you to look at the entire dating game section that I have, the playlist. How people move, what they do in human nature is trackable. It has a pattern. Once you read the pattern, no matter how much you want to go blind because you want them to love you, you will see the pattern and you will recognize it. And putting the pattern of their behavior together and watching the actions and seeing how they play it out, people have ongoing patterns. They have a little bit of variation, but it's the same dance. You'd be surprised. Only the best cons in the world have multiple steps that will always keep you surprised, but they're like the best in the world. Okay. And you're probably not running into them every day. You're running into people that are just bungling about, trying to maintain control over you or anything in their life by feeding you something to make you love them, giving you false hope, pulling you around, enjoying the power they have over another person and never being caught. But I believe that the person with the hardened heart lives a life in gray. Gray. It's not even black and white. It's just, there's no color. There are no highs. There are no lows. So to eradicate a low, you must eradicate the high because it's a feeling situation, right? So I urge you all, be smart. Do not close or harden your heart because what you think is going to help you, a hardened heart will not help you. An open heart is the thing that is the most seductive and engaging. An open heart is what people respond to, but train this to see the patterns and to recognize the behavior and know that when they do this, then they will do that, and that. Okay? It's very trackable. Everybody take a look at the dating games, red flags, and whatever else. Many people, I can't remember the title of it, and mixed messages, because the whole playlist, I think there are like 300, 400 videos in there. Okay, it's a lot. I have to tell you the bad stuff only so that you recognize it, so that you will not move toward it and instead move toward the good stuff. Okay. All right. How do you not get jealous when you see the guy you want, but is bad for you hanging out with others? Yes, I want to move on, but can't help checking on him. I really, Bentley, want you to deconstruct, write it out. I'm serious. Take time. If you think I have any wisdom at all, how do you think I got this? I'm telling you the exact way I got it. Okay. This is an us thing to decode ourselves in order to not be susceptible to them so that then we can decode them. Okay. So you start with this. You know this person's bad for you. They don't want you and you want them. I got to ask you why? Why? And don't go superficial. Keep asking yourself why. And then what? And what after that? And what's the thing under that? And what's the thing under that? And do that work. Keep going under, because it's never the thing. It is always the thing under the thing. Okay? You could come back to, you know what? This is the father that never thought I was good enough. And once you unlock that, does it stop the default? Not necessarily. But remember, this is why cognitive behavioral therapy is so wonderful. Because once we recognize it, it's come out of our subconscious and it's now in front of us. Now it is in the workable, understandable present that when you speak it and you say it, okay, you're jealous because you don't have them, but you want this guy, why you want this person and why they're important. Until you figure that out, you will not be free. So please, please, Bentley, I don't know you, but I'm begging you. When you get off this live show, please sit down and go. And when you think you hit the bottom, keep going. You didn't hit the bottom. You know when you'll hit the bottom? When your heart feels like it's going to crack, because that's the bottom. And you know what is at the bottom? It's not even about him. It's never about the person. It's always about us. It's that wound. It's that issue. It's that thing. It's historic. It has nothing to do with them. They are the outer physical manifestation of the history we are trying to heal. Okay. So, on a positive note, Susan, what if they show interest? We are even intimate, and after he says he doesn't feel this spark and breaks up. Oh, yeah, he just wanted to test drive you, girl. I'm so sorry. He didn't feel this spark, but he didn't mind having sex with you. Really? No. What does that mean? Did you tie him down and force him to have his way with you? No. He felt the spark in order to get you, said all the right things to make you think it was viable, that it was going somewhere. Then he has you, then he doesn't want you. That's a cad. That's not a cool guy. That's not worth wanting. Jeff Phillips says, if we did win the one that didn't want us, it wouldn't work. Then the pain of moving on would be even worse. Reza, don't mix the real person with the person that you, well, I think you mean want them to be. Okay, thank you, Susan, for replying. I admire you so much. It's definitely painful. You are the best out there, Liliana. God. You might have noticed not everybody has ethics. You know, when I dated bad boys, my main concern, I didn't want to hurt anybody. That's a me thing. I didn't want to hurt them because I needed information for all of you. I didn't know what a bad boy was because I had good boys, and then I needed to find out. And I'm not going to read it in a book. I got to live it. And I got to figure out how to get out of that cycle and how to maximize somebody who doesn't want what I want, doesn't see my value. They want to hit and run. How can I survive? What is the way to survive? Because I had nothing to bring back to the tribe. I didn't have any information. Didn't have it. I want to do shows about civility and human kindness. And if you think I have a low SEO ranking now, civility and human kindness, you too can be a fine human being, like three clicks, right? But it's exactly what we need today. And I'll tell you the workaround. So don't get depressed. I think that most of us here are living by a code that we believe in. And so we get run over. Okay. Maybe you're the nice guy, you're the nice girl. You genuinely want love. You're showing up honestly. You're giving it an honest try. We don't have a lot of game players here and cons and manipulators. I don't have that, right? I don't attract it. So what happens is we will meet our opposites because we look enticing to them. We look like an easy mark. So in order to be as loving as we want to be, we have to educate ourselves as to human nature. And that's sometimes a little depressing, but we need to know the lay of the land. However, here's what's interesting. As you eliminate, okay, I'm going to say it again, eliminate these people from your life systematically, one at a time. It could be friend that irritates the heck out of you and is always pestering you. It could be a Klingon family member that uses your resources and your money and emotionally manipulates you. It could be a lover that you've had relations with and they keep coming back because they need something and you feel obligated, blah, 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 blah. when you start eliminating people from your life en masse who do not represent who you are trying to be in the world today, there will be a void. You might end up with 3 or 4 people that you like. You might find yourself sitting at home a little bit more than you did before because now you have filters on the world around you. You have filters on who is allowed to play with you. But here's the cool thing that I have personally experienced, and it took me a lot of decades to learn this, folks. You can quicken your pace and do it a lot sooner. Suddenly, I have fabulous people. And I recognize those that are not the second I see them. I can feel it, I can sense it because I've done my homework to learn what it isn't, to allow what it is to come through. I have generous, loving, kind family members. I've cut off family members and I've welcomed other family members in. I've cut friendships for decades because I repeatedly saw behavior that I wanted to ignore. And as a gift to myself, I realized I'm not changing that person's nature and I hate who I am when I'm around them and I cut them out. There's no more communication. Now, I'm good at communicating, but for some people, why communicate when there's no reason? It's not going to change anything. You have tried everything in your power to have them be civil, to have them be kind, and they're not. So what? Now they're going to change their entire personality for you? Because this is how they control people. This is how they get what they want in life. But when you free yourself of them, it's like this incredible weight is lifted, and the flood of beautiful, generous, kind, loving people will absolutely astound you. But you're never, ever going to find it when you're tethered to people that are pulling you down, using you, confusing you. You're not going to find it. It feels a little brutal at first. Then you're going to suddenly feel kind of empty. And then it goes. And then they start coming in one at a time. I urge you all to try this. Spring house cleaning. Come on, it's around the corner, right? I urge all of you to try this. Okay, so enough with my rant here. Let's see, I've got a few more minutes before I have to get off. I am interviewing Damona Hoffman right after this, who wrote, I covered this book before. It's a good little book. I did a review on this. Her publicist sent this to me. I've worked with her numerous times. We do NPR together, the Life Kit, if any of you know that. And I've done her show, Dates and Mates. It's called F the Fairy Tale. Clean. Yes, rated clean. Yeah, so this talks about the myths around love. So I'm going to interview her, and you'll be seeing that in about 2 months or so. I love the fact that you're helping each other. If you walk away from an I can walk away from an actress obsession. How can you stop liking so much? It hurts. Thank you so much. Anika, at the top of the hour, go back. You might have come in late, so go back to the top of the hour. I talk about having a little fantasy version of an actor or actress in your mind is not bad. If it gives you a spring in your step, if it starts to eclipse reality, now, that's not good. Okay? Oh, thank you for replying, Susan. I thank you, Liliana. I like this. Valerie, hi. I'm in the same boat. But he didn't tell me there wasn't a spark. He disappeared, but then reached out and unfollowed and blocked me. I'm so sad. I'm having a hard time moving on. Valerie, why don't you book a session? So for all of you that don't know this, I ask you to join my newsletter only because I give discounts that I don't give to anybody else. Nobody else is going to hear about it on the outside, but I'm giving a $100 discount to my hour-long session. It's huge. Okay, so I really suggest that you get on board, sign it up. It's on susanwinter.net on the homepage at the bottom. If you sign up today, you'll catch it before the end of March and we'll honor it. Okay, F the fairy tale. There's no fairy tale. Okay, everybody, I absolutely adore you. So B and Gwyneth are going to be freaking out when they come on. I know that. But I'm going to have to leave so that I can get ready for this show. If there are any last questions, so now I'm going to go into, let's see, I really need a session with you. Oh, sign up for the newsletter. Perfect. Thank you, Susan. Okay, yeah, we're doing a deep discount. And I also have discounts on when you come to New York. Now, I want you all to know that I'll be in Milan from August 1st through 6th working with people. So you need to contact me and you would write, go to, God, what's my name? It's been a long morning. Go to susanwinter.net, go to the, God, where do you go? Fuck. Write media at susanwinter.net and put the word Milan in the subject heading. If you're going to be there, I set up individual consultations at that time. John Gallagher, $5. Forget SEO. You have high taking off and putting on the glasses. I don't like, I can see them reflecting in the lights, which I don't like, but I also have to see you. Hit the like button for Susan. That's right, Erica. So I'll be in Milan August 1st through 6th. I will be in Venice August 8th and 9th. I'm going on a cruise with my buddy, but I have a good time with them. And they're such a lovely couple. I mean, I like to travel alone. I like my own room. I go on the Seabourn because it's a beautiful ship and they treat you, they really, I mean, if you're solo traveling, you know, when I went to Southeast Asia, that's not a place where I felt comfortable just walking around the corner. I mean, we were in Cambodia, God, shithole. Cambodia and Vietnam was interesting. Saigon was much more cosmopolitan than I imagined. Um, Thailand, ugh, Bangkok, I couldn't wait to get out of there. I never want to be in a five-star hotel where I can't drink the water. I got to tell you. Singapore, I am in love with Singapore. It is just the most incredibly beautiful. It's a magical place with a magical form of governance. They've got a unique situation there. I mean, a woman can walk 2 a.m. in the morning on the street anywhere and nothing will happen to you. Same is true in Monaco. It's extraordinary. So sometimes you have to choose where you go. So just remember, if any of you are European, I will be there this summer. Okay. I always try and take a week before I get onto a foreign trip. I'd like to take at least 4 or 5 days in the city of arrival because that way I don't have to worry about catching up with the time change because I don't want to be on a vacation and just dragging myself for the first 3 or 4 days, finally get the time change down, and now it's time to leave. So thank you, everybody. I will see you next week. My very best to all of you. And for those of you that I've given directives to, I urge you to take a look at those. Truly, take a look at the directives. Please replay this again. Do your deep dive. That is the way you disconnect from these people when you want to move on. Okay. Thank you, everybody who's been a super chat contributor. My very best to all of you. And I will see you here next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.